Good afternoon. My name is Jermaine Thornton, and I'm honored that This Is My Brave invited me to come out in the community I grew up in to share my experience straight from hope with you. I battled with heroin addiction for 20 years, and I know what you're thinking. He only looks 25. But that's due to good genes. At an early age, I saw a lot of alcohol and drug use in my household, as well as in my neighborhood. I also witnessed a lot of criminal activity in both of those places. I remember telling myself, that would never be me. But by that time I was 12 years old, I was drinking and smoking weed, and also selling it. By the time I was 16 years old, I was a crack dealer and an everyday heroin user. Within that year, I was arrested for drug distribution for selling crack cocaine. And a few months into that sentence, I found out that my older brother, Luther Smith, passed away from a heroin overdose. I never felt pain like that in my life when I received the news from a family member. I told myself when I was locked up that when I get out of here, I was not using heroin anymore. And not because I was afraid I would overdose and die also, but because I didn't want my mother to have to go through the pain of losing another son. A year and a half later, I was released in 1999. And within a few weeks of being released, I was back to selling crack and using heroin. For me, selling drugs and using them is one and the same. Today, I realize that I forgot the pain I felt a week, month, or even a year ago. The next 15 years, I was hopelessly addicted to heroin and thought this is my life will be like until the day I die, and I was fine with that. In those 15 years, I was in and out of jail because of my addiction. And my addiction gave me no choice but to commit crimes to feed by any means necessary. It wasn't until November 2015 when I made a choice to get help for my addiction. And I called my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, and told her I wanted to get help, and could she take me to the hospital. She picked me up and took me to the hospital, where she made me go in on my own and ask for help, because she had done all she could at that point to help me. I'm grateful that she did that. I went into treatment 2 days after that and started to learn how to live life on life terms without the use of drugs and alcohol. I also learned how to cope with different situations that life will bring. Tonight I stand here and I am proud to tell you that in the next month I will be 4 years clean and sober from any mind-altering substance. I follow a 12-step program that changed my life in ways I couldn't imagine. I have relationships with people that care about me being a better person and willing to help me be that better person. I also do the same for others. But the best relationship I have in my life today is a relationship with God. Because when I was in the hospital, I said the most honest prayer I ever said in my life, and that was, please, God, help me. I cannot continue to live life, and that was honest. I let God back into my life. I had to treat my addiction on a daily basis to stay clean and sober, like I did when I was using, by any means necessary. I also do my best to help others that struggle with this disease by sharing my experience with them, so they can see that there is hope and a better way of life for them if they're willing to do the work. I believe that it's key for addicts to have someone that can relate to where they are. If I wasn't in recovery, I know I would be in jail or dead, because that's the only outcome from active use. I would like to end by thanking some people that are here. First, my wife, Christal, for not giving up on me. and always challenged me to want more for myself and for life. Second, my loving mother, Marion Smith. Your prayers and support have paid off, and I thank you. And third but not least, my amazing kids, Soraya, Jayla, and Caden. I thank you for allowing me to be your father, but most of all, showing me how to be patient. I'm Jermaine Thornton, and this is my break.